and welcome to a review and recap of Dexter Resurrection, episode 7, which is titled Course Correction. So we will jump right in to the opening scene. Leon and Charlie are out and they're talking about exposure. Charlie's a bit upset about exposure. This is after they've all arrived on helicopter. Leon kind of gathers them together and tells them about Mia's death. They have a toast, and Dexter is a wee bit suspicious that Mia was killed. Then Harrison and Elsa are on the bridge. They're kind of just chilling, watching the kid play. And Elsa says that the landlord is still a problem. And I presume this might be expanded on later. And he's talking about how he wants to be in criminology, Harrison that is, and Elsa recommends a college. Then we're back to the castle retreat. Harrison texts Dexter about a potential open night, and there's like a big spread of food, and Dexter's sick of this vegetarian food, and asks Leon if he can indulge just a bit. So he digs in there, and Prater announces that they're going to have a show and tell, and Al goes first and gets a girl by posing as a cyclist and basically falling. Boy who cried wolf, or not that. Basically, wolf in sheep's clothing is what I meant there. Basically, he kills this girl after she was going to help him because he fell off his bike. And Dexter is sitting there thinking, I can't wait to kill Al. And then Dexter goes, he kind of has a little moment in the mirror, a pep talk. He's kind of like, it's quite funny. You know he's going to turn into an actor soon. Harry is there. He talks with him, even though it's Dexter. And then he goes on to talk about the Dark Passenger. He doesn't go into detail about the kills. He just goes on. He basically is truthful because he's talking about the Dark Passenger and what it's like being a killer and trying to be a normal human being and remain undetected. And which is interesting because I was thinking, how is he going to navigate this thing without showing kills or anything like that, and they'll still think he's a Red Schmidt, and somehow he got away with it, and they really enjoyed that. And then we go to the police station, and Angel Batista is visiting Claudette Wallace and Melvin Oliva again, and Batista is just hammering them that Dexter involved in some way. And they still think that Mia did it all, Oliva especially. But Wallace does admit that Mia didn't have prints on the watch, despite having fingerprints on all the other trophies in her murder trophy box. So she acknowledges that Batista isn't just making up absolute nonsense. But still, he has a bit of convincing to do. We are back to the retreat. They're kind of at a dinner. Al liked Dexter's show and tell. Gareth is a bit suspicious about how he didn't mention the kill. Leon Prater takes Dexter aside and says he loved the show. We get a lot of Leon Prater lore here. He talks about the person who killed his parents was actually just an angry drunk who was annoyed about an interaction with his girlfriend, and he wanted to cause harm. And he wrote a letter to this person, Cooper, and Cooper wrote back. And Leon was actually fascinated by his mindset and visited him frequently and began a weird friendship, which I don't really understand, but that's Leon Prater. And he shows Dexter the letter. And this shows a bit of lore about how Leon Prater became obsessed with serial killers and killers in general, because Cooper told him that he had killed before, and this is the genesis of Leon Prater's obsession with serial killers, essentially. And then Angel Batista approaches Blessing Camara and innocently asks Blessing about Dexter, and Blessing is Blessing, just talking about how amazing Dexter is, just such a great guy, family man. And Batista's like, yeah, because we know Batista is certain now about Dexter. So Dexter goes and sits beside Gareth on a quiet bench, and then Dexter's acting is pretty funny here. just like hero worshipping Gareth, and is like, you're just so amazing. And then he has a switch after he gets Gareth to reveal about the twins, because initially Gareth was guarded. But Dexter's an expert manipulator, as we know. He's able to prod out of Gareth that he had a twin, and then he switches into just taunting him about killing his brother, like really suddenly. And he kills Gareth and stages it as like Gareth wanted to kill Lowell, Al, and Red Schmidt, and it's self-defense, which I don't really know, but he looks like he got away with it from this episode anyway. I was surprised. He's very ambitious this season. What did I say? Trigger happy. Dexter this season is very trigger happy. He's not really deliberating, looking for a lot of proof, because it's all there. He's just going for these kills straight away. And Charlie is suspicious. I think she was in special ops and stuff like that. She really has a lot of battle intelligence. And so Charlie then helps Dexter with this scar from self-defense, says he's very lucky. And if you know one thing about Dexter, if you've seen this franchise for probably, I would say, up to season 2, you know, Dexter and luck are intertwined. They're very close together. So Harrison is at this college. He's waiting for Dexter. This girl, Gigi, meets him. They gone out and banter. And then Harrison kind of makes this joke about his mum was murdered and his dad is dead. And it's kind of awkward because it doesn't really hit. But it seems like this girl kind of likes him regardless. And then Dexter is back to New York on the helicopter. But Dexter scrambles into the college and there's a lecture at the university that he's touring. And unsurprisingly, Claudette Wallace is there because this season she's always there. Dexter comes in, Claudette knows Dexter's face because Angel Batista has told her about him. And I actually just thought it was kind of funny when Harrison came in first and Claudette was there, because like two people that, well, Harrison especially just never wants to see her again. It's like, oh, he's just like, oh damn. And it turns out the lecture's on the New York Ripper. There's a big build up, and I'm sure most viewers thought it was going to be about Ryan Foster, but it's about the New York Ripper, who hadn't killed for a long time, but currently is taunting the victims in various ways. There's a voice note we heard of talking about a girl he killed. He sent a voice note to a sibling, and it was just really vicious stuff. And the way he left the bodies was just guts and intestines and all this kind of stuff everywhere. It's just chaotic. And Dexter meets Claudette Wallace with Harrison. They're the last there. She mentions Batista was looking in, and it's kind of one of those moments for Dexter. He's like, oh no, Batista's still here. Then Dexter does some clever stuff. He paints Batista as kind of like a traumatized lunatic who couldn't deal with Dokes, his partner, being the butcher, and like Wertha dying. That he's kind of like unstable and it's just making stuff up, which is another Dexter thing. The way Dexter tries to get away with stuff is frame others as crazy, manipulate evidence to back his claims that people are crazy, and just pull the strings completely. And I think he's trying to do that again with Angel Batista. He's probably going to frame him for murder. And then Harrison meets this girl Gigi again, and it's clear he wants Dexter to scram, and Harrison gets her number, and maybe this will be a girlfriend for him in the rest of the show. And he drops Harrison off at the hotel. And then the final scene is Angel Batista is just chilling at Blessing's house waiting for him, having fun because Blessing's family are very nice. And then Dexter comes up, and I just find it so funny how they're so passive aggressive, like surprise Hermano, and it's just so laced with I'm coming for you, and it's just the hug is just so forced. And then Dexter gives Batista a lift, and it just cuts from them the house to them the car, and they're both just stony face, and it's just like they're just mutual. Like Batista's like, "You're the butcher. I'm gonna try and get you." Dexter's like, "I know you know I'm the butcher. What the hell am I gonna do about you?" And Dexter basically threatens Batista, like, just stay away. But Batista is determined, because he is now certain this interaction indirectly has given away Dexter is the butcher. And there's a scene reminiscent of Walter White saying to Hank Schrader to tread lightly when Hank discovers that White is Heisenberg. Dexter says, basically, if you think I am the butcher, you better stay away. Batista's like, I'll keep fighting. Dexter's a little moment of, I'm probably gonna have to kill Batista, because that's, for me, the code, Dexter's code has weakened throughout this franchise. Because number one is don't get caught. And we know that Liddy, LaGuerta, those two off the top of my head, were primarily killed because of the don't get caught motive. And I won't say he killed Dokes, because I don't know what he's going to do with Dokes, but he didn't kill him. But Stan Liddy and Maria LaGuerta were not killers, yet his primary aim of not getting caught is a lot stronger than the other, like, parts of the code. The part of the code that says only kill killers is way down the rungs to the top, which is don't get caught. Don't get caught is absolutely key for Dexter, because he's addicted to killing. Because we saw in New Blood that he was waning off killing a bit. He's going a bit Lula, and killing Matt Caldwell was a release. And in this season, he's just like, he's back to the early seasons. He's an addict. He's just running wild, and it's pretty amazing to see. This season definitely has been excellent. And as for the next episode, I will have a video coming out reviewing that promo. And thank you for watching, and let me know your thoughts in the comments down below. Thank you.